The next issue up on this grand five list of yours is LGBT issues.
Right.
And my favorite, Michael Sam. And I looked at his number for Dallas, and I guess it's 46. Well, actually, I know it's 46.
Okay.
But, if you reverse that, it's almost close to 69. But, but I don't know. I shouldn't let my, late night thoughts come out in a serious conversation about, whatever.
It does not have to be.
Right. So, how's he doing, and how's the response to him, and is it really going to move the needle? Because there are not others that have come out. I mean, Deion Sanders has said that Michael Sam is, of course, not the first gay player in the history of NFL, that there's not a team that he's been on or played against that hasn't had someone that everyone knew was gay,
right.
Or had, a non-traditional sexuality. And
right.
so, how's he faring?
I think that we kind of had unreal expectations, right? I personally, I was like, great, he's going to play every Sunday. He's going to be ultimately playing the Super Bowl. And that may happen, right? But I think, he's doing really well, given that he's an NFL rookie. He, was drafted in the 6th round. I think that still, the significance of him actually coming out and saying and declaring who he was before he was drafted, I thought that was important. And I thought it was equally important to have people around the league say, you know what, I don't care. Or I support him, or, this is, or have Deion Sanders say exactly what he said, that there is, to push the conversation of sexuality to the forefront and say, you know what, this is actually not a huge deal because we play with gay players all the time, but it is really, really important for those players to be able to have the freedom to say who they are.
And for it not to be such a gendered sport,
right.
where it's actually reinforcing really negative stereotypes of men and sexuality
right.
in society.
Yeah, I think the interesting storyline that I was watching, at least along with Michael Sam, was another player. God, what is his name? Jonathan Martin.
Okay.
So Jonathan Martin, he was basically he was involved in this bullying scandal. He was the target of really, really awful harassment.
Right.
And sort of the conversation that was happening.
Miami?
That was in Miami, yeah.
Okay.
Now he plays for San Francisco. And the conversation that was happening was, well, he's not really a man. He can't really suck it up. He should have just that happens all the time. He's a wimp.
Right.
Can you play with somebody like Jonathan Martin who can't take a little ribbing? And
right.
To me that was really unfortunate. It was also a really big statement about how gendered sport is and how the gender boundaries are policed so heavily in that sport, right? The fact that your manhood is questioned if you speak up for yourself.
Well, gender boundaries are always policed in society, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why they have to be policed, because if not, people slip out of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're going to do stuff that you're not supposed to do, that's why.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and that is a bastion of it.
Yeah.
So, and it's interesting that he ended up in Dallas. You don't necessarily,
Right.
I was personally hoping that he was going to end up in Seattle.
Huh.
So it would be all my hot guys on one team.
Who are your hot guys?
Richard Sherman. Are you
Richard Sherman?
Are
really?
you crazy?
I'm a Colin Kaepernick girl myself.
Do you think that this really opened the door to other players, though? Because there's not been anything else. Or do you think that it's a bit of a one-off and we're going to wait a while?
I think we're still going to wait a while. And I say that
Wow.
because, when Michael Sam first came out, there was talk of him being a 3rd-round draft pick. And then he was
Right.
selected in the 6th round, ultimately.
Right.
And so I think part of it was that you had so much scrutiny around his personal life. You had former teammates of his coming forward and be like, oh, I think he's changed. He's not the same, just laid-back dude. He's a celebrity now, So, and I think what ultimately will turn the tables is when you have an accomplished...
He was in the closet before. That's
right,
right?
Right,
so
yeah.
That's why he did have to be laid back and low-key.
Exactly. He couldn't be himself, right? But, I feel like when you have someone who, has sort of the respect of his teammates already, in the NFL, and they come out, and then you will be able to have folks behind him, But, I don't know. I hope that we'll see an openly gay player come out in the NFL, an active player. And I think it's going to happen eventually. But, the NFL is a very, very misogynist sport. And so if and when that player comes out, I think it will still be a very sort of traditional sort of masculine gay identity that comes out.
Right. It will still be a very much gendered
right.
Identity, but then that would still be progress in some way.
That would definitely be progress.
And Amara Sherman has a nice ring to it.
Amara Sherman has a great, and he has a wonderful smile, I will say.
Right.
He has a great smile.
There's so many. All right. Well, thank you for that. And
yes.
so, we'll see. Hopefully there will be others.
Yes.